this preview, we're going to fly the next leg of our Pacific Northwest series. This one runs from Knight Inlet to Bella Coola, and you'll notice that it says water takeoff. If you saw our preview for the previous leg of this flight, we landed in Knight Inlet. Zoom in here, which is not actually a seaplane base, although later in this trip we will land at, I believe, Hartley Seaplane Base. But this was just a convenient place to take a break in the flight. We landed at Knight Inlet and we created a custom airport so that we can take off from here. See our how-to videos for instructions on how to do that. But we're going to go ahead and take off from Knight Inlet, where we landed in our previous leg, and fly through the mountains and glaciers until we get to Bella Coola Airport. So let's go ahead and fly it. Alright, so we've spawned in our X-Cub on the water in Knight Inlet. Let's go ahead and turn on GPS follow. And we're sort of floating around out here, drifting with the wind. So let's go ahead and get pointed maybe more south, and we'll take off in that direction. One thing I didn't point out in the introduction, I'm flying the X-Cub floats, but you have a lot more choices than we used to have in the standard game, and you might own some aircraft with floats yourself that aren't in the standard game. But obviously you can use the Pilotus, you can use, I think we've got a Cessna now with floats. Yeah, there's our Cessna. So we've got lots of options. You got the Beaver, that came with the 40th anniversary edition. I'm just using the X-Cub because the visibility's good for the purposes of the preview video, but feel free to fly any floats aircraft you want. If you choose something without floats, you're going to sink to the bottom of Knight Inlet, but as long as you got floats, you're good to go. Alright, so we're going to take off right into the sun. And I don't know if it's my piloting skills or lack thereof, or just the nature of the beast, but water takeoffs tend to be rough. So our first waypoint is Fang Peak at 7874 is the actual altitude of Fang Peak. We're going to want to climb pretty smartly here, although we've got 25 miles to get there, but we're going to be flying over a number of peaks. But we can follow this valley, which I believe up ahead leads to a glacier, and we can just fly up the glacier to Fang Peak. So instead of circling over Knight Inlet and then climbing to the crest of the peaks right out of my takeoff, I've just followed this ridge line, and now I'm going to follow this glacier up to Fang Peak. But if you want to go explore the peaks and valleys, you can circle over Knight Inlet and clear those peaks over there and see what's on the other side. So we're coming up on Fang Peak. I'd just like to point out I'm at 8,000 feet, and you'll notice I'm going to clear Fang Peak, but the altitudes set in the flight plan are not really altitudes, they're the elevations of the waypoint. So the assumption is you're going to explore as you fly and pick your own altitude. So you can see I'm going to clear Fang Peak, but there's plenty of surrounding peaks that I won't clear. So this is a good example of what I was talking about. Mount Myron here is in excess of 8,200 feet. I'm at 86, so if I just climb to 82 to get to Mount Peltier, I'm going to have to fly around Mount Myron. So just pay attention here in the mountains. Just because your waypoint is at 8,200 feet doesn't mean you're not going to have to clear taller peaks in between. And we're basically, this ridge line is the crest of Mount Peltier, or Pelletier, do my best with the pronunciations. And let's change course. As I think I've mentioned on most of these Pacific Northwest flights, if you'd like to explore the glaciers. There's plenty to explore along the way. There's Monarch Mountain, a little bit off our flight path. And we're coming up on Mount Vera, right in front of us, at 9,800 feet. Okay, there's more glaciers and valleys to explore on the other side of Mount Vera, but for the purposes of the preview, I'm going to follow the flight path. Okay, and there's Cerberus Mountain on the other side of the glacier there. I think, isn't Cerberus the multi-headed dog, three-headed dog, or something like that? I think I get it. There's an Ogre Mountain for all you Shrek fans. Alright, so there's Big Snow Mountain. Seems accurate enough to me, although you could probably apply that same name to just about any of these mountains. Bella Coola Airport's all the way down almost at sea level, 117 feet, so got a long way to go, and we got 9 miles to do it. Now, we can check our map, and probably our best bet is to clear this peak, Snooty Peak here, go right by Snooty Peak and follow this valley down, I think, is probably my best bet. Give myself some time to descend. I guess we could have gone down that valley as well. Let's do that. That'll be even easier. That'll give us more time to line up with the runway. And while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to deploy my landing gear. Don't forget, if you're used to flying the X-Cub without the floats, you've got floats, so you're going to need to deploy your landing gear. As we exit the valley, we ought to be able to spot our airfield there. I think that's it, the clearing over there, yeah. And I'm going to guess this is the town of Bella Coola. And this is Bella Coola.
Gears down for runway landing.
Let me clear my warning.
Gears down for runway landing. Gears down for runway landing.
And that's the end of this leg. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe. As always, these flight plans are available on our website, simflightplan.com/downloads. I'll put the link to this one in the description box. Free to fly for everyone. Just load it up in World Map and fly it yourself. Thanks for watching.